Daddy, I've got to talk to you.
Honey, next time think about knocking. Maybe I didn't want to be disturbed.
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
That's all right. What can I do for you?
Well, to get right to the point, I want Cruz demoted. I'll prepare the letter. I just need you to sign it.
Well, I hope you have a reason for this.
Well, where should I begin? His disrespect for company policy, his insubordination, his total lack of professionalism. For weeks, I have been waiting for reports on business dealings, oil exploration, and to this date, I have gotten exactly nothing.
Well, it's true. The man is a bit unorthodox.
You're throwing away good money on it.
No. On the contrary. We are well on our way to another banner year. And a lot of it is due to Cruz's efforts.
Well, how are you supposed to know if he refuses to tell you anything?
Well, I just got a report from him. We have 7 new oil discoveries. I mean, that's going to yield millions to the Capwell Enterprises.
Departmental reports are supposed to be filed through my office.
Well, I'll see to it that you get a copy.
That's not going to solve my problem.
Honey, a raise is a lot more appropriate than a demotion. Negative feedback is no reward for success.
It might make him work harder.
Never has, never will.
What about his insubordination?
Well, I always thought that was part of his charm.
It's easy for you to say. You don't have to work with him day in and day out.
No, that's not true. Just the other day, I asked him to take on a job for me, and he refused. So I'm flat out turned me down.
Yeah, well, there was a day when you would have fired a man like that.
I still would, if it was anybody else but Cruz. Honey, he is the best at what he does. He delivers. And in the oil business, you will find out that is all that is important.
Well, you know, there's something else. I really didn't feel like I wanted to bring it up, but I guess it's necessary. Cruz is seeing Elizabeth Peel.
Oh, well, why is that, Germaine?
I don't trust her.
Eden, this doesn't happen to be a personal matter, does it?
I don't know what you mean.
Well, I know how you've always felt about rejection. Even as a child, you were very jealous of any of the kids that got more attention than you.
Daddy, that's a preposterous idea. Are you saying I have designs on Cruz or something?
Well, maybe it explains your jealousy of Elizabeth.
Daddy, please. The man is arrogant and childish. I have no interest in Cruz whatsoever. And I don't want to talk about it. I mean, that's all we're going to say.
Very well.
Daddy, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all right, honey.
I didn't mean to snap at you.
It's already forgotten. Let me ask you something. You heard what Mason said about Sophia. Do you think that Lionel and Sophia...
No. No, I don't. She wasn't that kind of a woman, Daddy.
How do you know that? You were just a child when she died.
I don't think you would marry anyone like that. I mean, not knowingly, anyway.
Well, the evidence is very disturbing.
I don't think you should let it worry you.
You know, she was a good mother. Loving, affectionate. Motherhood was sacred to her. She lived it 24 hours a day. You remember that kind of devotion?
Yeah. I mean, like you said, I was really young when she died.
Do I hear a little tone of resentment there?
No. It's just my most vivid memories are of her not being here. Being alone. I mean, I was jealous of all the other girls on Parents' Day. Things like that.
So you blamed your mother?
No. There was a real big part still missing. And that part is just because she wasn't here.
You shouldn't be angry. She didn't mean to desert you. Sophia was a perfect mother. Loving each of you equally, without favorites, without question. Lord knows that I wanted to spend a lot of time with you, and I couldn't, but I knew that you were well taken care of, looked after. She couldn't have had an affair with anyone. especially Lionel Lockridge. You. I thought I made it clear that you're not welcome here.
Well, this is official business, Dad. Just some legal matters concerning Lionel Lockridge and his relationship with your wife, Sophia, now deceased.
I already know what Mason thinks.
Did you believe him?
Of course not. From what you told me about my mother, something like that couldn't have possibly happened.
Yet another love-blinded Catwell.
Guess you could just make that two of us, Mason.
Well, perhaps you'll all give me a chance to prove it.
Oh, save it for the courtroom, Mason. No one in this room is going to admit that affair took place.
Well, see, there you've put your finger right on my problem, Dad, because without your testimony, I'm going to have a hard time proving anything. See, a large portion of my case depends on this, as you put it, alleged affair, so I'm going to need to put you on the stand.
Well, you can forget about that. I will not submit to it.
You will if I have you subpoenaed.
As what? A hostile witness? Lord knows I want Lockridge behind bars. But if it means throwing aspersions on my marriage with Sophia, you might as well forget about it.
Well, a lawyer's job is to prove his point any way he can.
Yes. Lie, cheat, steal. Isn't that right, Mason? Muddle the minds of the jury with hearsay.
Actually, what matters most are the facts.
Well, what do you think you're going to prove by putting me on the stand?
Well, quite simply, that you drove Sophia into Lionel's arms. That this affair, this very real affair, was your fault. And yours alone.
All right, Mason, go ahead and put me on the stand. I'll tell you one thing, it won't do your case any good. You want me to admit that my wife was having an affair? I'll never do it.
Daddy's right. You're just going to have to convict Lionel on your own, Mason.
Yeah, you said you had enough evidence already.
Besides, it's Lionel who's on trial here, not me, and certainly not my relationship with Sophia.
All right. Prove it to me, Dad. Prove that you and Sophia had a good marriage.
Get me a Bible and I'll swear to it.
Well, better yet, why don't we pretend that this is a courtroom and you're on the stand?
All right, put me on the stand. Maybe we can put this thing to rest finally.
Well, good. You, sure you want to do it this way?
Let's get at it. Let's go.
All right. First question. How would you characterize your relationship with Sophia?
It's a perfect marriage.
It was a perfect marriage.
We both loved each other very much.
Mm-hmm. Were there any fights?
We had our disagreements. Once in a while, an argument. No more than the average couple. Less, I would say.
Well, if I may, I'd like to remind you of one argument in particular. One I remember overhearing as a child. It was the night before Sophia died, as a matter of fact. You were going away on an overseas assignment, and she was very upset. You know the argument I'm talking about?
I seem to recall.
Uh-huh. She begged you to stay. She said that she was lonely, claimed that she felt abandoned, neglected, that you were never at home anymore, that you two never talked.
You have an excellent memory.
You admit the fight took place?
What if it did? We were going through a difficult period, Sophia and I. She wanted to go back to work, and I was against it. But that wasn't an unusual situation in those years. It doesn't mean that we were having a bad marriage.
Does mean that there was trouble in paradise, though.
This is a ridiculous game, Mason. You've had your fun, but I don't think you're going to prove your point.
You're afraid to go on?
I choose not to.
Well, why not? If it was a perfect marriage, then you have nothing to fear.
There's no such thing as a perfect marriage. Everyone has problems. You're talking about one specific fight. That doesn't mean, as you're trying to portray it, that we had a bad marriage.
I think you had more than a few problems, Dad. I may have been only a child, but I seem to recall Sophia crying herself to sleep on a number of occasions, those nights when you were still at work. At least that's where you claimed you were.
Of course I was at work. Capwell Enterprises was having a crucial time then.
Then why don't you just admit that you were never home because your work meant more to you than your family?
That's not true.
Isn't it?
My work was important, yes, but so was my family. I tried to do the best for you, for all of you.
Then, how do you explain this?
What does it say? Dad!
Those are, divorce papers that Sophia had drawn up a year before she died, but apparently never filed. She couldn't go through with it. Why, I don't know.
It's lies. It's all about lies.
Dad!
Lies.
Dad!
How many times do I have to tell you?
You neglected your wife, and she had to turn to Lionel Lockridge for affection. And to keep that affair quiet, he killed your son. Lionel murdered your precious Channing Jr. because of a situation you created with your neglect. Truth of it is, you're as much responsible for Channing's death as anyone. If it weren't for your selfishness, Channing might be alive today.
Vincent, I'll kill you.
Dad, enough.
Dad!
Stop it.
Hurts, doesn't it, Dad? Being responsible for your own son's death?
You will say anything, won't you? Do you think in that twisted mind of yours that I'm going to let you back in this family?
Think if I still cared about that, I'd be here saying these things?
Then why don't you just go, Mason? Why don't you just leave?
When I'm through?
Well, I'm telling you, you're through now. I want you out of here.
Dad, aren't you even curious about these papers? I went to a lot of trouble to get them.
You mean forged them, don't you?
I have witnesses and documentation. You see, I subpoenaed the private records from Sophia's private attorney.
They don't mean anything.
You don't think so?
She didn't file them.
No, but you went to a lot of trouble to have them drawn up. Now, in a court of law, that's going to prove that she was unhappy, very unhappy.
No matter how many problems were in the relationship, Mason, she still wouldn't have filed those papers.
What makes you so sure?
Because Sophia was a very devoted mother.
You're all alike. You, Ted, Kelly. Whatever Dad told you about Sophia, you believed. I've shown you physical proof otherwise, and you still continue to believe this fantasy. Except maybe for Ted. What do you think, Ted?
I don't know.
You don't know what?
You're just trying to get us mad.
Whether it makes you mad or not, it's still the truth.
Yeah, well, I don't believe it.
Don't believe it, son. It's a lie. Ted, I loved your mother. She loved me. We were a family, and Mason felt left out. Now he comes along and he's trying to destroy the last thing that we have, the one thing that's held us together all these years. Oh, you'll say anything.
Yeah, what about the papers?
I can't explain that. But if they were authentic, she didn't file them.
The nights crying herself to sleep?
He made that up.
You said that my mom was happy, that she loved us.
She did. She did. I know you can't understand the rest, but believe that much. She loved you kids.
Then what did she need Lionel for?
Ted, listen to me. It's wrong.
I gotta get out of here.
Ted, don't go.
No.
Please.
You know, I don't know who to believe anymore. Yeah, I gotta get out of here.
You unfeeling? That kid loved his mother. Every image that he had of her, you have systematically destroyed.
He deserves to know the truth.
That doesn't give you the right to destroy his life.
Ted'll survive. Eden, Kelly, they'll come through this all right.
Why them? It's me you're after.
I just want to hear you admit it.
Then you're wasting your time. Because I will never admit it to you. And certainly not in a court of law.
It's the truth, damn it. Why can't you see
Because
that?
I know better. I lived with Sophia. I loved her. I held her in the night. I knew her, Mason. You only know what you want to know. what you think that you found in a yellow sheaf of papers. Get out. Get out of my house. What you've done to Ted and Eden tonight, you must hate them more than you hate Sophia and me.
No.
Daddy.
I'm sorry, honey. I just want to be alone for a while. You understand?